If you're watching this video, I made over $5 million by the time I turned 26. And in this video, I'm going to break down the entire story of how it happened. And so this may seem like a normal thing if I already grew up in a rich family, or if I'm somebody who already, had some sort of like golden keys gifted over to me and upon me. But in reality is I did it all from scratch. I did it all from the ground up. I had nobody in my life that was like some sort of millionaire, billionaire, sugar daddy or anything like that. I'm not a Nepo baby, and I definitely didn't do OF or some sort of sketchy business in order to make all my money. And it really all came down to this philosophy of learning skills and skill stacking. If you understand skill stacking and you become somebody who's highly skilled, you are somebody who can make shitloads, oogle boogles of money. And that's what I focused on for the longest time, is I just focused on learning skills. I didn't care about making money. Like, I always wanted to make money, but getting rich was like a byproduct of the person that I was. And the millions of dollars that I made really was a byproduct. Now, I did put in so many sleepless nights. I worked really hard to make it happen, but it's not because I work any harder than the average person. You see, I've been able to make millions of dollars because I am somebody who has skill sets. I don't work harder than a construction worker. I don't work harder than somebody who just has, work like janitors working in 100 hours a week. You can never make millions of dollars with the typical mind frame of most people. Most people have this mind frame that they go to college, go to school, and they work a bajillion hours, and then that's how they make more money. So whenever they hear somebody who's made like 5 million, 10 million, $100 million, it's unfathomable, because the amount of hours you have to work to become somebody in your 20s to make that much money is wildly impossible. So the only thing that most people can think of is you have to either sell your body, do something that's soulless, or you have to be somebody who just scams and rips off a bajillion people. But the reality is that the people that are making millions of dollars are normal people. And they just focus on a few things. And reality is they're not any smarter than you. They're not any more intelligent. They're not somebody who just has some sort of weird, wild gift. Or they're just like freaking LeBron James at making money. And in reality, there's dumb people, dumber than shit, that are making so much money. So if you're somebody who wants to be one of those people, then this is my story. So as much as I would love to say that I grew up with a rich dad and all that stuff, it really isn't the case. My dad really was trying to be an entrepreneur and trying to figure out how to make his own self and his own money and trying to figure out life. And he grew up in California, and that's where I grew up. I wasn't born in California, but that's matters for a different day or a different story. But that being said, I grew up seeing my dad never around. He was never home, and he was trying to just really provide for my family. And that, honestly, to me, is what it means to be a man, I feel like, is to be able to provide for your family. And he tried all sorts of different stuff out, all sorts of different sales job. And he really leveraged this this skill set of sales. Sales was like his golden ticket in life, I guess you call it. And he really started to learn the art of selling. And that was what led him to starting up his own business. And he ended up having this business that he had. And it was doing pretty well. I remember my parents getting a nice house. I remember seeing my dad work his way up and start making it for himself. And then that was until the recession of 2007, 2008 happened. And I watched my dad go from somebody who was like pretty successful to basically losing everything. And the only thing he didn't lose was my family, which is something that I find very impressive, that no matter what was going on, he still made an effort to stay with my mom and to still be the father of me and my sisters. And that's something that, as much as like my dad's not some sort of millionaire, billionaire thing in my life, that's something that made way more impression to me than anything whatsoever. And I remember declaring to myself as a young kid, I don't want that to happen. I remember seeing my parents fight. I remember seeing my parents go through a lot through that transition in our lives. But I remember thinking, like, I don't want to be in the position where I am in a financial position where we have to fight for survival and we have to kind of just play by the blessings of God to hope to live and to keep going. But instead, I wanted to provide stability for them. I wanted them to grow up in a life that didn't have so much change and so much diversity of standards. Now, that probably made me who I am, and that might be a super beneficial thing. But I want it to be a controlled environment, like going to the gym. You're under tension intentionally. You're not under tension because you're freaking trying to survive or something like that. And so I remember seeing my dad do this, and I remember thinking to myself, I need to figure it out. I need to make it. And all that I could ever see in my life was all these people that were going to college, going to school, and that was the way, that was the path. Or it was you do pro sports. So I did both. I played college baseball, or I played baseball and then went to college for baseball. And I was trying to get the highest paying degree. I remember looking up like, what is the highest paid salary in life, or in for a school degree right now. And I remember looking up all these different things. I remember engineering was the top one. And my brain is not like a math magician mindset. But I remember seeing computer science. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I remember business degree was like something that like had one of the lower like average income from getting the degree, but it had the highest income potential out of college. And so I was originally going to do business degree, and then I had a class of computer science in high school, and I kind of liked the whole coding thing. It was kind of fun, you know. You had this iterative process of like trying different things out, and you can make like programs and computers do cool shit. So I went to school for computer science. And I went to school for a couple of years trying to do this whole computer science thing. And I realized like it really wasn't for me. I had no idea what the hell was going on. I could see myself maybe having like a management position with computer science and like understanding how things work. But I could not sit in front of my computer screen coding all day, like trying to be one of the top in the world programmers. I realized really quickly. And so I was trying to get some different jobs. I was trying to game the system, try to start making money in college. I wanted to start making money. And I couldn't get anything. And that's when I came across, I came to my dad and I asked him, I was like, hey, I want to have a job this summer. I want to make a ton of money. And I obviously can't find something like an internship for computer science. Do you have a suggestion? And he's like, oh, maybe you do sales. I was like, yeah, I don't know. And we ended up doing a long road trip. I was going to school in Idaho. My parents were living in Minnesota at the time. So we had to drive. It was like a 3-day drive road trip that we did. I think we ended up turning it into 5 days. We went fly fishing and stuff together. And I remember asking my dad at the end of the drive, what's up with the sales thing? It was literally like the last like 4 hours of the drive. I was like, hey, what's up with the sales? Can you get me into it? He's like, yeah, let's do it. So he was able to get me into a door-to-door sales job. And I decided that's what I was going to do that summer. And I learned the skill sets of sales. I literally listened to thousands of hours of podcasts about sales. I wanted to become good at it. I wanted to become good at this skill set. I wanted to learn how to sell things so good that I can make any dollar amount that I wanted. I saw other people that were so good at sales. And I realized I was like, damn, I want to get good at this skill set as well. And so there I was learning the skill set of sales. And that changed my life. That summer I made $15,000. And I realized I was like, what if I could get away to like where I keep making money based off my skill sets and it's uncapped earning potential. I always hated how like a lot, like you have to work your way up the corporate ladder. You can always make more money, but it's all like politics and all that. I kind of realized. And I wanted to have uncapped earning potential. Like that sounded sexy. That sounded cool to me. And so, but I didn't know any way of doing it. And so I started listening to all these podcasts. I started listening to all these different ways of making money. And that's how I came across building a side hustle. A side hustle. Like what is this? You don't go to school for it. It seems kind of gimmicky. You watch a bunch of videos and stuff, and it's a little bit odd, trying to figure out a way to make money, like off of just like what? Make money online, make money on the internet, doing a little business or something. What? Like, why does nobody talk about this in school? Like, I remember I didn't grow up with anybody talking about any of this stuff. So I was like, all right, fine, we'll try this out. And I tried a bunch of different stuff. I tried real estate. I tried e-commerce. I tried Amazon FBA. I tried all sorts of different businesses. And to tell you the truth, a lot of them failed. And I ended up losing a ton of money. I had a little bit of some success with some of them. I bought a bunch of courses. I probably spent like way too much money on courses and trying different stuff out. But bit by bit, I started to learn. I started watching a bunch of YouTube videos. I started to see these people that were making money, and I saw them freaking everywhere. And I realized, I was like, dude, I'm not going to go to college. I'm not going to get my degree. I'm going to drop out of this bitch, and I'm going to go get rich. And that's when I came across, like, I realized, like, I was learning all this stuff off of YouTube. Like, I was listening and watching all these YouTube videos, and that's how I was learning all of these skill sets. And I realized, maybe I should do this YouTube thing. So I had some success with real estate, and I ended up making a YouTube channel about how I was able to flip some houses when I was 18 years old. I made some money flipping houses, and I decided to make a YouTube channel about it. And that's when I committed to uploading every single day for a year straight. So you watching this video, like I've already yapped a bajillion times. Like I've probably put in my 5,000, 10,000 hours into just yapping and talking onto camera and talking on video. So if you're ever like, damn, I want to record videos like Devin one day, just know I've done this for a long time. There's a reason why I make millions of dollars a year off of just yapping. And it's a rep thing. But I started to learn, I was like, let me start this YouTube channel thing. And I did a video every single day. After about a year, I ended up dropping out of college. I locked myself in my apartment and just made videos for months on end. And that's when I got to the point where I started to make some money. I was making $3,000-$4,000 a month. It wasn't anything too crazy, but I got to where I was paying my bills. Got to the point where it was like I literally had financial freedom. I could go work any time of the day I wanted. I mean, I was working 12-hour, 14-hour days at the time on this YouTube channel, but I had enough money to pay for my bills. I was set on life. And that's when I realized I wanted to make real money. I wanted to make $30,000 a month, $50,000 a month, maybe $100,000 a month. I really wanted to hit 10,000 like consistently off of YouTube. And that's when I came across, like I started looking at my numbers and I realized I don't know how I'm going to make that amount of money with this channel. At this current rate that I'm on, it's going to take me another few years. So I had this dilemma. I was like, I had this YouTube channel, it was making me $300-$400 a month. No idea how I was going to make $30,000 a month, like $20,000-$30,000 a month. Because I remember reading Grant Cardone's like 10x rule, and he's like, think 10x what you're making now, think 10x your goal. So I was like, because I kept wanting to make like 10 grand a month, so I was like, oh, what about $30,000 or $40,000 a month? And I realized, I was like, I have no idea how I'm gonna make $30,000-$40,000 a month. Like it seemed impossible. Like I didn't even know how I couldn't even comprehend how I was gonna make that amount of money with my current YouTube channel. So one night I was doom scrolling. I was watching all sorts of different videos. I was big into watching YouTube because I had a YouTube channel. And I came across these YouTube channels that like, they're kind of funny to watch. I started just binge watching a bunch of them. I watched like 1, then 2, then 5, then I watched 10 of them. I was like, damn, these videos are good. But I was looking at them and I was looking at the views and I was like, damn, a lot of people are watching these simple videos. So I started to do the math and I realized that they were making tens of thousands, like $30,000 a month off these videos. And that's when I got a light bulb. That's when I realized, oh shit, I need to make these videos. So what did I do? I got out of bed. I jumped out of bed. I ran out of bed, straight over to my computer, midnight, 2 a.m., started making these videos. And after a few hours later, I posted my first video about these videos that were faceless. They were stories pulled from Reddit. And I hit upload. The next day, I go and check my YouTube Studio, the app that tells you about the views on the videos. And I checked it, and it had like 10 views, 20 views. I was like, these are kind of cool videos. It wasn't too hard to make. So what did I do? I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this every single day for the next 2 weeks. And I would love for this to be a story of failure, as much as probably some of you may be rooting for. But what happened is I started to make 1 million views a day in just 2 weeks, which is the equivalency of a couple $1,000s a day with the ad rates that they were paying at the time for those videos. Now YouTube pays way more, but this was 7 years ago, back in 2019. So I started making $40,000 a month. Went from $4,000 a month to $40,000 a month. And that's what I committed to for the rest of my life. So what happened here? Okay, so I learned all sorts of different skills is what happened. I tried all these different businesses out. Some of them worked, a lot of them failed. But I learned a lot. I learned a little bit about marketing, about spending ads, about copywriting, about sales, about running a business, about management, about life, about communication. And I realized, oh shit, at all these things. But because I had a little bit of experience with all this stuff and I failed so much, I was so willing to try so many different things. You see, most people, they're afraid. They're scaredy cats. They're so afraid of taking that first step forward. I realized I had nothing to lose. I had nothing else I could do in my life other than get rich at a certain point. So what was I going to do? Be the rich guy. If the rich guy doesn't know how to doesn't have something that's making them rich, what are they going to do? Find something to make them rich. So I started trying all these different things out. I tried all these different businesses and a lot of them failed. But all it takes is one win. All it takes is one home run. All it takes is one change in your life and you're changed and set forever. And that's what I did. And then the difference of me and the other guy that will have some success and some luck in life is when I'm given an opportunity, I take advantage of it. I run with it. I realize that God only bestows so many gifts in our life because he wants to see what we do with it. And I realized that if I just wasted this potential that I had just had, then I didn't really want to be rich. So as soon as I started to have some success, what did I do? I ran. I turned that thing that made me a few $1,000s into something that made me millions of dollars in my career. And I use it to serve people. I use it to give it to a bigger vision than myself. I use it instead of selfishly just trying to make some money to just go like hoard away into like a little cave or something and just hoard all this money. I decided to use it to inspire people. And the wind's picking up, so hopefully it's not too crazy here in the audio. But I decided to use it to transform my life and to change everybody else's life. At first, it's like the airplane. When you get on an airplane, they say, hey, when the oxygen mask falls down, don't put it on the other person. Don't put it on your child first. Put yours on first. Put your mask on first. And as soon as I had my mask on, I then tried to put everybody else's on. I tried to make sure that everybody else was set in life. That's what I did, and that changed my life, and it changed thousands of other people. That's why I've inspired so many people. That's why I've become so successful in life, is because I bet on myself, and when I was given the opportunity to win, I put my foot pedal to the metal. Because the thing is in life is if you get momentum, you need to hold on to that shit. As soon as you lose it, as soon as you lose the momentum, you're starting over. And so my biggest fear in life is losing momentum. It's to stop the momentum going. So if you want to be successful, you want to make millions of dollars, figure out how to spiral upwards. How to get it so everything is conspiring in your favor. How to get it so you keep winning over and over and over and over again. That you build so much monumental momentum that you make more money than any other person in your family, all of them combined. And you make generational wealth to do whatever it is that you want in this life. Because life is short, but also it's a lot of fun. It's fun being able to travel the world. It's fun being able to buy your first supercar. It's fun being able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, wherever you go, for the rest of your life. My life was changed. And the question is are you going to change yours?